Hello everybody, my name is Nobu. I'm CEO of Wacom and I'm sending this message from Tokyo Wacom office. Thank you so much for joining us today. thINK21 Wacom EDU Summit. The world is going through very difficult times as you know, and we have been thinking over how as Wacom and Wacom products, Wacom technology can support educations. Today we are here to talk about how the Wacom technology, Wacom products, and communities getting together can keep sustaining educations across K-12, high ed, and even Creative Pro area. So Wacom products such as display tablet, we can deliver the education experience such as annotating, using a whiteboard in remote educations, and even highlighting and even creating your handwriting materials for your classrooms. And also together with a bunch of the variety of the pens, this is almost like our digital stationery as education instrument. And also not just our delivering hardware or products, we are thinking of the futures. In futures, our digital ink technologies would be able to capture the students' learning characteristics or learning curve or teaching characteristics by digital ink. And we can contribute to the optimized adaptive learning service, caring each student, caring each teachers using our digital ink. So we are thinking over this future digital classroom, whether it's remote or in person. Moreover, I like to highlight through these 3-day sessions, thINK21 Wacom EDU Summit, not just talking about our technology or products. We really like to listen to your voice. We really like to learn from you. We welcome your feedback, comments, any questions, and all your precious feedback. We like to reflect on our future solution for educations, and we really like to grow together with you. We fully commit in education sectors and learning from you. Thank you again for joining us today, and please enjoy the sessions. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to day 3 of thINK21, the Wacom Education Summit. I'm Mindy Thielgis, Sales Manager and Education Product Evangelist for Wacom. Today, we'll hear from K-12 educators on how they are using technology to improve their students' experience. They'll also share ideas on building effective STEM and STEAM programs and infusing creativity across the curriculum. Listen, we know that this past year has wreaked havoc on children's learning experiences with nationwide school closures that affected an estimated 55 million students. We couldn't have made it to this point without all of you. At Wacom, we have all been so touched by the stories from teachers that embraced, and many for the first time embraced, Wacom pen tablets, not only as an essential teaching tool to keep students engaged, but we were so touched by how you all adapted and still managed to spark creativity and innovative classroom experiences for our youth. Your newly formed passions for teaching inspires us. So we want to give back to you today by providing you with some real ingenuity and lessons learned. And please reach out during the summit. We want to hear your stories too.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to thINK21. Today's K-12 track is no looking back, and in fact, it's a look ahead for K-12 education. We're pleased to open today's summit with a live presentation from Santa Fe Public Schools and share with you really an innovative and exciting STEM program, a program that reaches throughout Santa Fe's district and broader into the community and across the state. Their integration of technology, the way they're using data and building community partnerships will give educators everywhere, we hope, new ideas and inspiration. And with that, I want to welcome the Super STEM team from Santa Fe Public Schools, started with Dr. Tom Ryan. Tom, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Linda. We're really happy to be here. Santa Fe Public Schools has had challenges like everyone else with dealing with the pandemic and keeping our systems afloat. But I thought we'd share a little bit. I'm a Chief Information and Strategy Officer for Santa Fe Public Schools, but I'm also a part of the COSIN National Board, a member of the Council of University Schools, and help them with their CIO activities, and also a senior fellow with the Center for Digital Education. So I have a great role with Santa Fe as a strategy officer. I get to focus on kind of the future, and my team works on what's going on currently. I'd ask you, just to get us started and engaged, if you could text either your biggest opportunity that you think that COVID provided for adoption of computer science, or perhaps your greatest challenge. And while you're throwing those texts in, I can get those fingers exercised. Well, oh, there he is. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I think Neil had control of the button and just kicked me out to ruffle my feathers a little bit. Santa Fe, which was founded in 1610, it's the second oldest city in the United States. We have about 13,000 students. 80% of those students are Hispanic, 15% Caucasian, about
this program in that they are providing that day in and day out support in schools. And then there's the support and the support in student connectivity and making sure that the technical side of things are working. And we have a great team in Santa Fe Public Schools that we're very proud of. But as we became more technologically advanced, state of the art learning environments, we had to make sure that support was able to be in place for that as well. And that kind of leads us to where we are. So we spent the past 5 years after 2013, the 5 years after that, really building out that environment that enabled us to have a rich learning environment. Our board created a computer science resolution that is the foundation of what we're going to talk about today. It was an exciting proposition. We were the first district in the state to say that we wanted to implement computer science for every student, grade pre-K through 12, with CSTA standards and in every content area. So we didn't want it to be about, we want a computer science class in every school, but we wanted every teacher to have the ability to integrate computer science skills and activities into their lessons. And with that said, Tom, I'll take it over. I'm not positive if Amory is connected with us.
he is. He's on. He might be on mute, but while he figures that out, Amory Martinez. Once we started this program, we decided we needed somebody to coordinate those efforts so that we're keeping momentum going forward. And so we hired an innovation and an education coordinator, and Amory has become our chief worrier about making sure that people are connected, that funds are getting to teachers, and that we're putting on an annual month-to-month program for computer science. Amory was born and raised in northern New Mexico. He's a very proud first-generation college student in his family. He's got some design, architecture, and construction background, and he is used to be a digital learning coach for the Santa Fe Public Schools, and then elevated himself to be in charge of our computer science and STEM programs, while expanding opportunities for all Santa Fe students to become competitive and valued participants in the future. So, Amory, thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for the introduction, Tom. As Tom mentioned, I am the Innovation Coordinator for Santa Fe Public Schools, and my responsibility is to help push forward the Computer Science Ready 2025 program, or also known as CSR 2025. Next slide.
That's no problem. Just go ahead with the collaboration slide.
So the collaboration portion has to do with between our Departments of Curriculum Instruction and our Department of Technology. And as Tom mentioned, it began with the school board resolution in 2018, I believe. And the goal of our program is to essentially have a program that is adaptable, refined. We can refine this program, and is also we can also replicate it. This also does tie into the Santa Fe Public Schools Innovation Expo, which also highlights and showcases all of the great work that our students and teachers are doing at Santa Fe Public Schools. We wanted to put some faces because our approach to all of this is a community-based approach. And because of that, we've also established a community of practice program that's specific to computer science readiness, for specifically in grades K-8. And the goal of this collaboration between the departments is to essentially get every student and every teacher versed in computer science concepts and in skills. We're not so much focused right now on the machine or the technical aspects, but rather the concepts and the skills. Next slide, please. So the phases of deployment are basically, if you would click on it, this should be a graphic that you can watch. Essentially, the CSR 2025 program will lead every school through a process of understanding computer science. And then from that process, moving into a phase of implementation. And afterwards, the next phase would be transformation. The goal is that the key to success that we feel that at the CSR 2025 program is that school develops its own plan. They have their own approach, whether it be focused on computational thinking skills, or it could be design thinking skills. So those are the aspects that we're focused on in computer science.
So, Amory, if we'll go back to that slide just real quick, what is this phase of awareness, adaptation, transformation? What's the purpose and with that? And does each school go through each of those phases?
Yes, each computer science ready school will go through each phase. So it's a 3-year program. It's a 3-year phase program, and it focuses on 5 areas, right? Endorsing the CSTA standard, a computer science integration with all 4 content standards. We want to plan to recruit teachers and grow capacity teachers who will implement or integrate computer science skills and concepts with their core content. We want to develop a computer science pathway with a focus on the development of those skills. And of course, we want to establish an internal and external stakeholder group. In other words, the community of practice that we have currently taking place right now.
Great. We'll go to the next slide, and we have the 3 vignettes.
Yes, so the participation of being part of the computer science resolution was creating a series of vignettes. Vignettes are created by both digital learning coaches who have a background in computer science and other individuals who have a background in computer science. And these vignettes each are synchronous and asynchronous, but the asynchronous portion is a 2-hour block. For example, a computational thinking block. If you click on computational thinking, it will take you to our learning management system, which is known as open access. And what we do is we engage every level of our ability to use technology at our school district to leverage that. So we leverage it so that way our teachers have access at every option available. Design thinking is the same process. Block coding. So each one does, when you link into this learning management system, all that we're asking teachers to do is to submit the activity outlined in the vignette. And then, of course, when they get past that, they'll work with a mentor and a digital coach to design, develop, and implement a project or unit plan, which also includes CSTA standards. Now, the intent is for the vignettes is to give teachers exposure to what computational thinking or block coding might look like. It's breaking down some barriers. It's removing the shock and awe of what most people view as computer science. Computer science, not from the perspective solely from technical, but also from the skills perspective as well. Next slide, please.
And while they're going to the next slide, could you tell us what a digital learning coach is?
A digital learning coach. Yeah, a digital learning coach has an educational background. Typically, the background also includes experience using technology in their classrooms. They have experience using project-based learning approaches, hands-on approaches. So the idea is that it's a combination of computer science being tied to what we can do to combine our core content. So in my background, for example, I taught a STEAM lab before becoming a digital learning coach, and then from there elevated to innovation coordinator. Educators, digital learning coaches, students, community partners outside, district leaders, others. So those pictures that you see, those are images of all the people that are working diligently to make computer science essentially a component of Santa Fe Public Schools. In other words, we don't want to view computer science skills any different than you would say language arts skills or math skills. Essentially, they are skills. So it was really important that we take an opportunity to view the video. Would someone click on that video for just I can do it. Thank you. So in this area here, what I just want to showcase to you are the kind of different approaches we're doing. We're doing 3D printing. We're doing coding with robotics. We're using software like Makey. We're incorporating computer science with our humanities teachers and our language arts teachers. And so this clip, I just want to give you a sense of what's taking place at our school site. We're truly looking at innovating teaching and learning, and that whatever happens now from here, from say K-8, kids will be prepared once they hit 12th grade, and they can hit the ground running. They can do internships. They can tie to their local community college. They can tie to courses that are in our universities. So we're really looking at how do we make Santa Fe Public Schools the leader in our school, in our district, and of course in our school. Next slide, please. The computer science ready COP mentors. These are the COP mentors. I just need to share their names. Pete Cox, Jerry Lynn Moline Salazar, Zanette Ramos, Justine Crispin Chavez, Susan Gibbs, Kate Gomez, and Pamela Perea. These are all educators within Santa Fe Public Schools, digital learning coaches, that are mentors and professors at other colleges who have come together to work with us and our teachers in this community of practice. The way the community of practice works is it is a 16-hour block of time during this spring semester. At the end of this spring semester, our mentors and their participants, the group of teachers that they are working with, will showcase all of the great stuff that they've come together with using computer science. We want to showcase and share this information with our school board leadership and our stakeholders locally.
Oh, did we lose Amory sound on that?
I think we did, Tom. I'll wrap up for Amory. I think the important inter-district competitions, we wanted to ensure that our students were able to compete. Right prior to the pandemic, we were working on a first and second grade Lego competition about water conservation, and we were really excited to having a competition among our schools. Students were excited, the teachers were excited, and unfortunately, this pandemic got in the way. I think one of the primary focuses of this computer science ready program is that, and Miss, I don't want to take any away from Miss Casaus's presentation, but we developed this as an opportunity for schools to develop a plan that would meet the needs of their own students. So when we went through, we passed a slide that had a group of cohort 1 schools. That was kind of our test bed. We had 4 schools, and we sat with them over a week, and we learned those basic skills. The second week, we allowed a core group of leadership and teachers and the digital learning coach from each school to develop a plan, and they developed a plan that met the needs of their own school. So we came out of this with 4 different plans, all with the same goal of integrating computer science. The other key to this that Ms. Casaus will point out is that we didn't believe that you needed to come up with the plan. It's not going, this is a living, fluid plan. So let's have a basic frame around that awareness, so helping teachers understand. Then we're going to move to integration the next year, which is the year that Ms. Casaus is in now, and then really looking at transformational learning in that third year. And, we did things with microbits, and we had training for teachers through the NMSTA, the CSTA, New Mexico Computer Science Teachers Association. So a week of learning down at the University of New Mexico, which was great for our students. We had a microbit competition that one of our students was nationally recognized for as well. And I already talked about the Lego intra-district competition. We're really looking forward to getting different activities and competitions within our own district going again around this. We had a digital learning conference in Albuquerque that had schools from all around the state, and we presented, and we're happy with the reception of our presentation. You can see Justine here dressed up as our Internet Explorer. We also have an annual Innovation Expo in Santa Fe, and year before last we had 700 attendees, over 100 kids and teachers coming to present around their STEAM Power Learning. This year we moved to a virtual event, and as you can imagine, attendance wasn't 700. But what was great was that we had this virtual STEAM fair that was basically Innovation Expo that was set up, and we had parents and teachers who were involved with students and learning about their programs. We're really looking, the purpose of this is just to showcase our students' skills to our stakeholders so that they can understand what it is that we're doing in Santa Fe around computer science, and it's very, very exciting. The last thing, and I'm sorry I'm jumping around a little bit here, but having to jump in for Mr. Martinez, who had some technical difficulties. I'm doing the best that I can, so I apologize for jumping around. Thank you. The last thing we have here was this was the first event that we had a couple years ago, again with 700 students. We had vendors from all across the city and businesses come and participate, and it was an absolutely engaging event and really eye-opening for the community, I think, to understand and be able to look at the types of learning and skills that our students are gaining around computer science, and not just in the typical computer science classes, but we had phys ed teachers come and talk about how they integrate computer science skills as well.
Yes, I'm going to start with Kathy Casaus. She was a computer science teacher or integrated into her teaching program, and she's grown into a principal at Acequia Madre. Acequia Madre was one of our first computer science cohorts. She's got tons of enthusiasm and really brings home these the leadership within her school. I think she's going to talk a little bit about the makeup of her school, but also she's a person that engages in a hands-on way with all of our learners and makes it passionate. So she's really done a great job. And Kathy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your program?
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Neil. Everybody else out there, thank you so much for inviting us to share our story with you today. My name is Kathy Casaus, and I'm the principal of a charming little school in downtown Santa Fe called Acequia Madre. And traditionally, Acequia Madre, we're a public school, but we've been known for our performing arts. So being the change agent and taking on this, being part of cohort 1 in our CSR 2025, my goal, my questions were centered around how can we integrate performing arts with the concepts of computer science. So basically, my job was to set the stage for how we move forward. So next slide. We were thinking about what do we already do? What do we do at our school and that we can simply integrate and move forward? One of the things we do is we have a theme every year. We've had kindness and integration. So as part of our awareness or gaining awareness of computer science, we said that our theme was going to be explore. And through this, I know this is old school. I don't do it this way now this year, but last year when we started up, it was a poster and stickies. And how do we arrange everything to include computer science throughout the day? Then I looked at the space, our school, our actual physical building. How can I make this an environment where we are exploring computer science? So one of the things we did is we changed our traditional computer lab and library into what we call the Creative Commons, with multiple opportunities for different types of diving into coding and maybe some engineering and maybe some other artworks that we can integrate into those. We have rooms and centers and hallways that we can use throughout the day to develop those skills, to create, to test, and then refine what our students are doing. Then moving on and looking at how we integrate that into our performing arts. Performing arts, and when I say performing arts is a focus, it's a true focus. Every classroom at our school does at least 2 performances for the parents and community a year, an evening performance, a daytime, a matinee, and beyond that, we have monthly smaller performances. But anyway, here, we looked at all those skills our kiddos were taking on and then giving them opportunities to integrate them in what they would have already done in their class. So here we've got a 5th grade class that does 2 different performances a year. One is a colonial fair where each of the kids takes on a skill from colonial times and then learns that skill and presents it to the public. Well, they then included this year learning about the green screen software and how they could use that to take that performance up to the next level. They also do a performance where they invited the public to come in and they would discuss the presidents. They each had their own president, and they did artwork. They did a presentation. Well, this year they took it up another level and they learned how to use QR codes to lead to a timeline using the iMovie software. And then as we are a performing arts school, we were able to give our audience an iPad and they were able to interact with the presentation. So we were looking at multiple ways to integrate all these new skills that our teachers and our students had learned into what they were already doing. Next, another thing I was telling you, we do multiple presentations. Well, we also took the opportunity for weekly assemblies where each class could showcase some sort of skills that they might have learned. Here we've got 2 students doing some Lego robotics, and they presented to the entire school and then discussed it afterwards in a one-on-one session with a variety of different grade levels. So now our students are becoming the teachers to their peers. And this is another way we celebrate our successes. We have seen an exponential growth in interest of coding, of peer collaboration. Our community has gotten involved. We now have parents and community members doing after-school coding and robotics club. And it's just so fun to see our students working together and their excitement ringing through the hallways. Earlier, Neil talked about the Innovation Expo, where district-wide we were able to showcase and celebrate those successes throughout the year. This is a picture of one of our groups of kids last year at the Expo where it was live. And this shows them taking what they think and moving forward. And this was integration of many students and working with their robotics and their parents helping out. This year, it was virtual. But you know, because of those skills our kids have learned, they were able to seamlessly move their presentations into a virtual platform. So again, I want to say it's really been an amazing collaboration of the district, our technology department, our digital learning coaches, and our teachers and students to make this all come together.
Hey, Kathy, before we go on, just a question or a statement. In some districts, you can't cut athletics when the budgets go, but by board decree, you cannot cut art in our community. It's a really big deal in Santa Fe. So the way that you've taken the art community and helped them to see the value of that. Are there any businesses or how did you get that buy-in to move with art, keep that focus, and adopt this computer science initiative?
Well, Tom, I don't know if everybody has heard about Meow Wolf, but Meow Wolf is, the perfect example of artists using technology to communicate their skills and present their ideas to the community. So we have our Meow Wolf here in Santa Fe. It is now growing. I think there's one in Denver, one in Las Vegas. But anyway, my teachers, I took my teachers to Meow Wolf. It was a field trip for the teachers. And we experienced that, immersed ourselves in the way technology and art can marry. And then we brought it back into our school so that we could share that with our students and our community.
So it's more than just what we're doing in the school. It's a whole community-wide initiative to upgrade and bring in computer science. Thank you.
Exactly.
So next slide, and Justine, I'm going to also ask you to tell us a little bit, because we've already got a question coming in about what the credentials or what it takes to be a digital learning coach. But Justine is another one of our fantastic employees within Santa Fe. She's has been a digital learning coach for us and has partnered with Kathy in her school, and she has been very enthusiastic. She's one of our digital learning coaches that said, "This is my niche. I want to make something happen here." So, if you could, Justine, tell us a little bit about what is a digital learning coach as far as credentials, and how are they assigned to schools, or are they just a little bit about that so people understand what digital learning coaches are.
Neil, I think Justine might still be muted. Is anybody able to unmute her?
Well, while she's doing that, Neil, maybe you could take that question.
Absolutely. Yep. Our digital learning coaches, as I said, they're really the background, the backbone of this program. Digital learning coaches, as Amory said, have a background in education. Every single one of them is a former teacher. And this is a bit of a coveted position in Santa Fe Public Schools. When we have we infrequently have positions open, but when we do, boy, we get a lot of applications for them. Digital learning coaches work within schools and are divided among our schools. So again, we have 16 larger schools, so high schools and our middle schools that have, over 1,000 students. It'll be one digital learning coach working at one school. For our smaller schools, a digital coach might be assigned to 2 schools, or in very, very few cases, might be assigned to 3 schools. But the coaches will typically pick half a day at one school and half a day at another, or they'll work Monday, Tuesday at one school, Wednesday, Thursday at another school, and then have flex Fridays. These guys are really pseudo leaders within their schools. In that they are an active part of the decision making around our 90-day plans, which is growth plans for schools. So how what are our goals for the school year, and different things like that. So again, these guys are the heartbeat of ensuring that our technology is used, that computer science skills and the CSTA standards, are integrated in all of our classrooms, and digital resources and e-textbooks are able to be used. They also provide that on-the-fly technical support for teachers who sometimes need it so that they don't get stuck. Do we have Justine back yet?
I'm showing she's still muted. I'm wondering.
Yep. So let's do this. Eric, let's go back to gallery view. And I've got several questions that I want to bring up. Neil, when the board wanted to move towards a computer science adoption, and we moved towards a district-wide K through 12 implementation, there was a relationship that had to be built with instruction, because we didn't want this to be another project that was pushed on to principals, so that this was more of an integrated approach. Can you talk a little bit about that building of a relationship with our instructional partners in the development of this program?
Yeah, of course I can. Right before I do that, Tom, I'd just like to say that, Tom and I present together frequently, and at the very beginning we say, we're both tech guys, so there's going to be something that goes wrong today. And Tom, we forgot that today. And here we go. Justine can't connect and Amory can't connect, but this is a testament to just, this is part of technology and we have to get used to it. So thank you all for bearing with us. Dr. Ryan talked about the connection that needs to exist between teaching and learning and technology. The digital learning coaches in Santa Fe Public Schools, they report to technology. However, with that said, we have developed such a close relationship. Dr. Ryan, myself, and Linda Sink, who's our Chief Academic Officer and our Executive Director of Curriculum Instruction, typically meet on a weekly basis to talk about what's going on in our classrooms. And where we're really looking, our end goal is that technology isn't something. Technology just exists as a natural support in every single one of our classrooms for great teaching and learning, because that's why we're here. We're here to teach our students. So I'm very proud of the relationship that we've developed with teaching and learning. I don't think we're where we need to go, because there's always room for growth around those relationships. But we have, we often talk about silos within public schools, and I really believe that we've broken down some of those silos, and we're working together and collaborating together. We don't do something without thinking of them, and they don't. Same goes with them. They confer with us. We try to figure out how we can work together to make sure that when we do something, we do it right.
Well, and that partnership is also co-ownership, right? So this wasn't the technology program. This was our academic program, of which we held a more of a leadership role. This next part is a two-part question, because I think it was really important it developed those phases. We didn't expect people to have a plan for their future in the first year, but we would grow with them. And it changed the role of the central office and the school. So I want both the principal and the central office person to talk to Neil. Talk a bit about that New Zealand model that we adopted, and then let's transition into how do we had to work that culture in as with the schools that we had to develop.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted this to be something that we supported schools in. We didn't want it to be something that we were doing to schools. And we certainly are not the experts. I'm not an expert at running a school. I'm not a principal at this moment. So we wanted the principals to be really the driving force with their leadership team. That's why when I talked about the summer, the 2-week intensive program, it wasn't just the principal coming, or it wasn't just a group of teachers, but we asked for a leadership team who was going to be that core team, at least one administrator, so the principal or assistant principal, digital learning coach, and a group of teachers that was mixed. So we didn't want all English teachers or all math teachers. And our goal was to support those teachers. Support those schools in developing a plan that was for them. And one of the things, and I'm just gonna call you out here, Ms. Casaus, one of the things that was the most fun about this was that the principals would come. Kathy came and she said, "Oh, can we do this? We want to do this. Can we do that?" And our answer was, "You're asking the wrong question. The question isn't can't you? The question is how can the district support the school in doing that?" So we really wanted to be the supporter, not the driver. And Kathy, I'll turn it over to you to finish that up.
Well, and that's exactly what happened. Thanks, Neil. When we were doing this training, we'd have these ideas, but we weren't sure if that's what we could do. And again, they turned it back and said, that's not the right question. If this is what you want to do, what can we do to support you? And I know Justine is not able to be here with us, but I want to import how the DLCs, our digital learning coaches, help with that culture, help shift that culture with the teachers in empowering them with their own choices and almost the same type of thing. Not the questions, again, not what did we want them to do, what did they want to do in their classroom with what they're doing, and how can we support them?
So, Neil, we had several schools that were in that first phase. We had more people wanted to be in than we could address. If you became a school within this, we wanted to have a comprehensive solution. So, besides getting the training, what other supports besides the training and the DLC that's dedicated to helping them? What other supports did the schools get?
Yeah, so we wanted to make this something that schools were interested in. So we wanted to create a little bit of demand for this. So again, not doing it to schools, but schools were coming to us, and they are coming to us now and saying, we want to be a part of the next cohort. So we had an application process. We had 7 schools in the first year, and we only took 4. In addition to a 2-week intensive that we talked about, 1 week of training around the stuff of computer science, so coding and robotics and the different devices that you can use to learn those and integrate those skills. But then the next week was working on planning. We included a stipend for teachers for learning over the summer for that team. We also included $30,000 so that the schools could use that as they saw fit. And you know, of course, there are some limitations, and we try to provide some direction. One of the things that we found is that we left it a little too open-ended in the beginning. So we were getting, I want these robotics kits, and I want a different school might want a different one. From a district perspective, we're now trying to figure out what works for all of us so that we can streamline. In addition, as you indicated, Tom, they get a little bit extra digital learning coach support. And the innovation coordinator, Mr. Martinez, who spoke with us for a couple of minutes, he provides supports directly to those cohort 1 and 2 schools at this moment. And then starting next year, it'll be the cohort 1, 2, and 3. The other thing that I'd like to say is that Tom mentioned that we don't think of this as another thing. So we wanted to ensure that the schools knew that they could make this a part of what they were already doing or what their focus already was. And that has worked to our benefit. Again, not doing it for the schools or telling them how to do it, but providing the support for schools to do what they saw fit.
So Kathy, you get this program, you bring a team from your school that is a design team because you had to own this, not anybody else. What'd you do with your $30,000?
Well, and you know what, it was a process. It was a process deciding what was the purpose, what could we do with that financial support that would help us move forward, help us learn new skills, and help us then pass that on to our students. So what we did is, because we are a performing arts school, and with the help, the wonderful help of our DLC, we looked at the different things that we could use to help our kids understand coding and I want to say recording and keeping track of all of those things that we did with our robotics, so that we could then share that with a variety of audiences. So what kind of software could we use to capture this for whatever audience we had? So was it our 3rd grade students working on Lego robotics, finding the software, whatever they needed to capture this, and then presenting it to another grade level? So those are the things we purchased. So if if we want to talk about the things that we purchased, there was some robotic. There also was some basic, what do I want to say, hands-on items to learn how coding and sequencing work for our beginning kindergartens, kinder through 3rd. We also wanted, with these items, to be able to teach our kiddos terminology, the correct vocabulary to use as they move ahead with computer science.
I think
So
one of the, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think one of the things that, from Justine's perspective, is the digital learning coach that has changed. There has been and I think Kathy will agree with this, there's been a culture shift within her school. This has become the driving process that we work towards. One of the great things that I've seen in some of our computer science schools is when we moved to our 7th through 12th grade students have always been one-to-one for the past 5 or 6 years. When we knew that COVID was coming and our schools would likely close, we stripped all of our carts. We stripped all of the Chromebooks out of our carts for our pre-K through 6th grade students and handed those devices to students before they went to a remote learning environment. And prior to that, we had some old carts that we've used, and we were trying to figure out what do we do with these instead of putting them in a landfill or selling them, for scrap per pound. And I've seen some really innovative uses of them, and I believe Ms. Casaus' school was one in which students would learn something, and I'm just gonna pick something. Maybe it was around construction, or maybe it was around coding or robotics, but they would build displays out of the cart. So you would take the cart and you could see on the front what the general concept was, and then you could turn it to the left, and here was step one in building, and you turn it around, and then you open it, and it might be used as a large-scale diorama. So some really ingenious and incredible things that it kind of makes it easy for us to show off the computer science skills that our students are learning.
And if I could add to that, Neil, another thing I know Justine was going to talk about is our digital learning coaches also come into our schools and support the principal and the rest of the school with professional development. And a lot of Justine's professional development has not been how to. It's been, come on in, these are the things we have, explore, try it out. And then I'm going to work with you on what you're doing in your class and how this could support you in your class. Then I would, during my walkthroughs in my classes, I would see my teachers integrating in their small math groups, in their small math group rotations. One of their groups was always about coding. So as Justine presented these, as the teachers got more and more knowledgeable with the different skills that they could use, we saw it happening all day long.
Right. Ownership makes a huge difference. We only have a few more minutes, so Neil, I want to ask a couple more questions, and if there's a question from the audience, please get it into the chat soon so we can finish. Neil, two things. What are the requirements that you need in order to become a digital learning coach?
Yeah, so we're really looking for somebody who is, again, a former educator who has been able to integrate technology within the classroom, understands coaching. Coaching is a key part, and relationship building is really a key part in those digital learning coaches. If you there's an understanding within our school district that DLCs are not evaluative. They're not coming into your classroom to tell you how to do something. Again, just like Ms. Casaus just described, a lot of times it's the sit down and let's chat about what you're doing and let's try to think together about what we can do moving forward. But again, primarily, Tom, an avid user of technology as a pedagogical tool, as a pedagogical support, really being able to look at data and try to understand data in classrooms, and being creative with ways to integrate technology to support good teaching and learning.
And Kathy, they're not just a trainer, kind of a typical role. They're more of a leadership partner in the planning out how you're going to move your school forward, correct?
Absolutely. We work hand in hand all the time, making plans. I might say something, Justine, this is where I want to go. This is what I'm thinking. And then she will think on that and come back, and this is how we can start that motion. So together we, again, hand in hand, but the relationships she has developed with the staff are deep and very, very special, because she makes them feel successful and appreciates their successes.
Yep. And Neil, what types of partnerships, whether they're state or local, or how do we help with the state, with the other school districts in the state, businesses? How did that go?
Yeah, so I think that first of all, many of our digital learning coaches, myself, are involved with the state ISTE, the affiliate, which is NMISTE, New Mexico Society for Technology and Education. So we provide professional development and presentations. We are constantly working with local vendors, local businesses, because that's really where our students are going. Trying to grow our students, the skills that our local businesses are looking for. We're a tech region hire. We have national labs, two of the national labs, the Los Alamos National Labs and Sandia area labs, within 50, 60 miles of our school district. So a tech region, a tech hire region means that there are more technology specific jobs created in the Santa Fe County than there are all other jobs. So we're really focused on how can we help our students gain the skills that they need to enter our workforce.
And Kathy, 30 seconds. What would you recommend to principals and teachers if they want to really get a program going in their school or support a program in their school?
I think number one, look at what you are already doing that is successful. And then bit by bit, look at what you can do to bring computer science into that, to integrate it, and to marry it into that. And do it bit by bit. Another great thing is getting feedback from both the kids and the teachers. That can be incredibly powerful.
Well, I know the presentations we've done to the Board of Education, the video presentations, the things we've captured really generated a lot of excitement, not to mention that enormous community event that we had with 700 folks. We really appreciate sharing our journey with computer science, and this is just one of our schools. Each one had a different plan and a different path forward. I appreciate the opportunity to share those successes. I'm very proud of our school. And I really thank all the our presenters, whether they could participate fully. Justine, she put a lot of work into her presentation. Neil, and your leadership, and you as well, Kathy. Neil, our contact information is on the slide, so you can email us if you have other questions. We'd love to chat and talk and share what we've got and learn what you've done. So thank you very much for this opportunity, Linda and Wacom, for giving us an opportunity to share.
Thank you.
Thank you all.